Welcome to Randscore's EU morning briefing for Wednesday, the 10th of June 2009. Just taking a look where the US finished up yesterday in the equity space. Did see pretty much flat finish for the Dow, for the SPOOs and Nasdaq 100 slightly positive. Obviously one of the main themes from yesterday was the US banks, in particular the repayment of the TARP details. Obviously we saw that $68 billion worth announced, and just some further coverage coming in the late US and overnight sessions saying that US banks approved yesterday to repay TARP could complete those transactions in 1 to 2 weeks, according to a US Treasury spokesman. Again, those banks are going to repay that money as soon as they can, as they'll be free of restrictions such as executive pay, dividend payments and share repurchases. Obviously they're looking to get back on track and profitable again to their shareholders as soon as they can. Elsewhere then, looking in the Asian session, we have seen the Nikkei overnight that gains just over 2%, a touch an 8-month closing high. The commodities were the best gainers there. That's all coming after the API numbers which were released after market yesterday came out with a quite considerable drawdown. The actual numbers on the API crude oil inventories was a drawdown just shy of 6 million, having seen a drawdown of just some 800,000 in the prior week. And obviously analysts looking ahead now in anticipation for the DOE numbers we'll see this afternoon. So looking elsewhere then, in Europe we have opened higher following those Asian gains. We're up in the FTSE CAC and DAX by around 1.5% currently. Again, the basic materials, oil and gas, the outperforming sectors early doors, so obviously likes of Total, BP, Shell driving their respective indexes. Again, we're seeing WTI crude futures, obviously they settled above 70 for the first time for 2009 yesterday, and we're trading over 71 bucks at the moment. In terms of some other headlines just to make you aware of that have come out, one other thing that also did drive some of the Asian markets and also feeding through to its equity strength this morning, talked that China's industrial production rose by 8.9%, which does far exceed analysts' expectations. That actual data isn't due to this Friday the 12th, but two Chinese papers seemingly leaking that early. So again, proving that one of the biggest energy consumers is rebounding quite nicely on the IP front. Elsewhere, a few other US pieces to be aware of. Fred Stearns spoke overnight, saying the US economy is probably just months from resuming economic growth, but with low inflation, or with inflation, low interest rate policy need not be changed right away. That's according to Stern. And out of the ECB, a couple of speakers, Mersch, he spoke in a Wall Street Journal interview saying that Euro region expansion may be prevented before the middle of next year due to financial industry weakness, with Papadima saying the region's credit squeeze persists as banks continue to shrink their balance sheet and demand for loans weakens. Caden also saying that ECB needs clear exit strategies from today's accommodative monetary policies with significant growth returns. All three pretty much staying with the rhetoric as well. The rates in the Eurozone are appropriate at the moment. Taking a look just in terms of some UK headlines, so you're aware of, according to BOE figures in the FT this morning, UK banks and building societies have not passed on interest rate cuts to households, thus damaging any effects to get the credit markets moving again. And elsewhere, the FT's Lex column, a closely followed opinion piece here in London, they've stressed that the housing correction still has some further to run as yet. So taking a look then for the calendar, in terms of economic data, we're going to be eyeing the UK industrial production and manufacturing numbers for the month of April. That'll be due at 9:30. And then the 1:30 today out of the US will be the trade balance numbers, and then we'll be seeing if those DOE all inventory numbers reflect the APIs, with big drawdowns in the crude number this afternoon. And just forthcoming, in terms of supply out of Europe, we're eyeing 6 billion euros from Germany in a bubble tap, and also 1 billion from Portugal due just after 10:30.